This is CBS.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Stahl.
And I'm John Blunt. Ahead on the Channel 10 News Update, life imitates art at a New York opera house with a tragic death during the play Macbeth.
The Traits family reacts to yesterday's verdicts. I'm Bill Baldini, and I'll have that story.
Following 2 weeks of testimony in federal court, closing arguments are heard in the Judge Kenneth Harris extortion trial. I'm Bonnie Keller with details coming up.
And we'll take you to a celebration of young people helping to build the future with Jack and Jill.
And get ready to sink your teeth into a Japanese feast. The Channel 10 News Update is next.
9 New York fur manufacturers and Zinman Furs will be at the Civic Center in the Center Building for a manufacturer's fur sale Saturday and Sunday only. We believe this will be the biggest fur sale in Philadelphia's history, barring none. Zinman Furs will guarantee the quality of any fur bought from these select fur manufacturers, and Zinman will service any fur bought during this history-making sale as an added bonus. Zinman's entire stock will also be on sale at the Civic Center.
For real country sausage, the best you ever tried. Pick up a pound or two of Tennessee Pride.
Even when you're in a hurry, there's always time for Tennessee Pride Country Buttermilk Biscuits and Sausage. Just pop them in the microwave, and you've got a delicious hot breakfast. Now with 33% more sausage and real buttermilk. That'll really get you going.
Take home a package of Tennessee Pride.
New Country Buttermilk Biscuits and Sausage.
Mmm. They did it. Some big-time diet and nutrition expert figured a way to eat and lose. I never thought I'd see the day. You sprinkle it right on your food. All natural, helps control your appetite, and you lose weight. Eat and lose. You really lose weight. I can't get over it.
Eat and lose. It's a dieter's dream come true.
Channel 10, Philadelphia.
I was shocked because I don't think I deserve that. And above all, I don't think my sons and my men deserve what they got.
Roofers Union boss Stephen Traits free on bail, just one day after being given a 15-year prison sentence for racketeering and bribery. Traits now home with his family and wife Barbara.
I thought it was outrageous because they didn't do anything wrong. They don't deserve a day.
Good evening, everybody, and this is the way it is tonight. Along with Traits, 8 other roofers were also sentenced to prison terms from 8 to 14 years, most on the same racketeering and bribery charges. Traits handed the heaviest jail time because he was the leader. And tonight, he talked of his past and future with Channel 10's Bill Baldini.
Stephen Traits and the other 8 who were sentenced yesterday are out on bail today. And Traits says every day of freedom is now precious and worth more than $1 million. Traits told me today he was shocked when he heard his sentence was 15 years in jail and a $50,000 fine.
What I did for the benefit of the people that I work for. I got nothing from it. None of my men got nothing from it. And I don't think we should be punished like that. I seen murderers and drug pushers and kidnappers get, you know, far less than that.
Traits still maintains whatever he did it out of loyalty and love for his men and the union. It stemmed from a code of ethics Traits believes roofers understand, but a code the FBI and the courts could not grasp. The judge said, quote, Stephen Traits, you're a natural-born leader, but yet you led your union in the wrong direction. How did you feel when you heard that?
Terrible. Terrible, because I didn't believe I led my union in the wrong direction. I'm a broken-down old fist fighter. I never harmed anybody. And they understand that.
Barbara Traits had a husband, 2 sons, and a son-in-law convicted yesterday, leaving her with 7 grandchildren and 3 fatherless families to hold together.
We'll stick together. We'll work together. We'll just all pull together. Pool our money. We'll do whatever we have to do. We've always had a close family. We did things together, and we're just being separated now.
Stephen Traits still believes the government is ultimately trying to break the union. In his own case, he's now on appeal. If it doesn't work, he'll report to prison in just 9 days. Bill Baldini, Channel 10 News.
Today, the Roofers Union took one step to try and distance itself from Traits in the Roofers trial. The man who took over Trait's job as head of the union fired Trait's lawyer, Bernard Katz.
John, the jury won't begin deciding the fate of Philadelphia Common Pleas Judge Kenneth Harris until next week. And Bonnie Keller reports on today's closing arguments in the trial of a judge accused of selling justice.
It was the third Saturday session in a row before Judge Louis Bechtel at federal court in Philadelphia. On trial, Common Pleas Judge Kenneth Harris, charged with racketeering, extortion, and bribery. The prosecution contends Harris used his courtroom to fix more than a dozen cases in 1986. Co-defendants Mattias Big Sonny Brown and Center City lawyer Romaine Phillips, also on trial for allegedly conspiring with the judge. In his closing arguments, Harris's attorney Samuel Stretton stressed that his client's background and his blind loyalty to his friends wrongfully implicated Harris in this case.
What we've shown is an unorthodox judge who does street justice and who should not have kept his old friends, but did because of his human need and where those friends betrayed him.
2 days before the trial began, Harris's longtime friend and personal aide, Conrad Sheeks, decided to turn state's evidence in exchange for a lesser sentence. Sheeks' testimony during the trial linked Harris to cash payoffs in return for favorable treatment in his courtroom. Co-defendant Sonny Brown's attorney, Stephen Patrizio, admitted his client took bribes, but he says Brown is not guilty of conspiring with the judge as he's been charged.
That the government charged Mr. Brown with the conspiracy because they used that as the vehicle to get the bug, to get to Judge Harris, and my client is the victim.
And in court, the lawyer for Romaine Phillips claimed his client had no part in the conspiracy. This has been a long and complicated case for the government, involving 45 witnesses and 90 tape recordings like this, which the prosecution has used to show illegal activities in Harris's City Hall chambers. On Monday morning, Judge Louis Bechtel will charge the members of the jury with their work to determine the guilt or innocence of Judge Harris, Sonny Brown, and Romaine Phillips. Although there's been 2 weeks of testimony with this case, it could take only a few hours before the jury could reach a verdict. At federal court, I'm Bonnie Keller, Channel 10 News.
The former chairman of SEPTA, Louis Gould, ran up a $44,000 expense account over the past 3 years, according to published reports today. Most of that money was spent on trips overseas, trips to attend meetings for 2 transportation organizations that Gould belonged to. In the report, Gould made this statement: "I certainly view my active participation in the 2 organizations as beneficial to transit and SEPTA, or I would not have given my time to participate without compensation apart from expenses." Gould, you may recall, resigned as SEPTA chairman last month after weeks of political turmoil. We tried to contact Mr. Gould today and we're told he's out of the country. Another story about SEPTA: its fares will not be going up after all. SEPTA officials had feared a $21 million deficit would force a fare hike, but they've been able to balance the budget, mainly because of increased ridership. So the base fare of $1.25, the highest in the country, by the way, will stay the same for now.
In Los Angeles tonight, investigators are still sifting through the rubble of 2 freight trains involved in a fiery crash last night. A freight train passed a green go signal that wasn't properly working and crashed into a park train, killing 1 crew member. Thousands of gallons of diesel fuel spilled, triggering a fire that destroyed a nearby cafe and a church. And in New York City today, a performance at the opera Macbeth ended in tragedy. A member of the audience, a Bulgarian-born singing coach, either fell or jumped to his death from an upper balcony of the Metropolitan Opera at Lincoln Center. It happened during intermission. The Opera House believes the death was an accident. The performance was being broadcast at the time to a national radio audience.
Tonight, Republican presidential hopeful Pete DuPont is being sued by a fired campaign worker. Roseanne Robertson is suing the former Delaware governor for conspiracy, slander, and fraud. The DuPont campaign fired her, saying she was responsible for forging petition signatures to get DuPont on the Texas primary ballot. And another Democratic presidential candidate, Jesse Jackson, is also accused of using false signatures to also get on the Texas ballot. Jesse Jackson was among 6 of the 7 Democratic presidential hopefuls trading jabs today in Iowa. The latest polls show Missouri Congressman Richard Gephardt leading the pack in Iowa, closely followed by Michael Dukakis and Paul Simon. The candidates criticized Gephardt for his trade bill that would hurt farmers. Here's his response.
So the Harkin-Gephardt bill gets prices up. Then it asks the president and the trade negotiators to go to other countries and to try to reach sensible agreements so that we have world prices and supply management around the world so that farmers everywhere can make a living.
The campaign trail continues this week with more debates in New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
A group of moderate Democrats is speaking out against any new funding for the Contra rebels, warning that the funding would be a vote against the Central American peace process. The Democrats sent President Reagan a letter today urging Mr. Reagan to delay any extra Contra aid or to restrict it to non-lethal assistance. But President Reagan is refusing.
Some say if you're for aid to the freedom fighters in Nicaragua, you're against the peace process. Phooey. Even the Sandinistas admit they're talking peace and democracy because of the freedom fighters.
Also, during his radio address, Mr. Reagan touched on his upcoming State of the Union address. The president saying that he will seek a line-item veto and balanced budget from Congress, as well as more money for education and less federal spending. The State of the Union address to be broadcast live on Channel 10 Monday night at 9 p.m. Mr. Reagan also issued a national appeal today for help for Tabitha Foster. She's the 3-year-old youngster who had a 5-organ transplant last November at Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. Tabitha's still in serious but stable condition tonight. The president saying the family's medical insurance has been exhausted and needs nearly $1 million to return Tabitha to full health.
Well, money was the reason they were climbing to the top of one Center City high-rise today. There were 225 people and 37 flights of stairs over at 1818 Market Street, home of Merrill Lynch and Hubbard Incorporated. The higher they climbed, the more money they raised for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And we're happy to report those eager climbers raised $25,000.
A lot of climbing.
Uh-huh.
Still ahead tonight on the Channel 10 News Update, fire destroys a Cherry Hill landmark, but the owners vow to continue the family tradition.
Celebrating 50 years of brighter futures for young blacks. I'm Bonnie Keller with the story of the golden anniversary of Jack and Jill of America coming up.
Your Tri-State Chevy dealer has winter car deals, and that means cold cash on selected Chevys. For a limited time, you can get $400 cash back on Cavalier, $500 on Spectrum, $600 on Corsica or Beretta, or $750 on Celebrity. And that's in addition to option package discounts that can save you up to $1,200 more. But these cool deals won't last forever. See your Tri-State Chevy dealer today.
For the best dining values in Atlantic City and the greatest entertainment bargains on the boardwalk, take a new look at the Atlantis Casino Hotel. Call right now and you can stay overnight for just $14.95 a person.
The Honda Accord LXI. You've always wished you could play like that.
Sure, I'm hard to please. That's why I went to a Jeep Eagle dealer. And I'll tell you, I'm glad I did, for a lot of reasons.
One reason is the 1988 Eagle Premier, the car with European sophistication and handling, with more people room and more horsepower than Chevy Celebrity or Pontiac 6000. And it's only at your Jeep Eagle dealer.
You go to a dealer hoping for the best. There, you can expect it.
Expect the best from your Key States Jeep Eagle dealer.
At Cherry Hill Landmark, the farmers market was destroyed by fire today, but its owners are already making plans to rebuild. For more than 30 years, people have been coming to the market at Springdale Road and Route 70. No one was hurt in the fire. Officials still don't have a cause, but the market owners believe it was deliberately set because they say the real estate there is very valuable and in high demand. The owners hope to reopen the market by Palm Sunday.
An 8-month-old Philadelphia girl who police say was thrown to her death was buried today. Michael Barrett is charged with the death of his daughter, Patience, and police are investigating whether he was also involved in the death of his 1-year-old son, Michael, back in September of 1985. The medical examiner was never able to determine exactly what killed little Michael Barrett.
This weekend, young blacks from across the country are gathered right here in Philadelphia. They're celebrating 50 years of growth for the Jack and Jill of America organization. As Bonnie Keller tells us, the children are learning what young blacks were taught a half-century ago, just how to strive for excellence.
Young black children making colorful wind socks, learning that a person's heritage can't hold them back from success. It wasn't like this 50 years ago when the Jack and Jill organization got started here in Philadelphia. That was a time blacks were deprived access to cultural and social activities. Mayor Wilson Goode gave the opening address of the Jack and Jill convention last night, talking to parents about the role they play making sure their children succeed.
Children today need special kind of care and special kinds of guidance.
Frida Durham is one of the founding members of Jack and Jill.
Started, everybody had one child, and they didn't have many friends like in the neighborhood. So it was a matter of making their first friendships, you know. It just snowballed into such a big affair. We had no idea of even going chapter-wise, you know, going to other cities.
When you first heard about AIDS, what did you think, young lady?
Today, there are 187 Jack and Jill chapters in the United States with 7,000 members. Through the program, teens openly discuss today's pressing issues.
People will use sex to sell anything, the clothes you wear, the food you eat, everything.
Jack and Jill's reinforce what they've learned through this program by reaching out to others less fortunate. We talk to kids about what they've learned through the program.
Meeting new people and just doing activities. I guess if I didn't come here, I wouldn't have made half the friends that I have.
You could teach them how to make friends. You could teach them not to fight.
On this golden anniversary of Jack and Jill, it's time to celebrate the black family and, more important, the progress that young blacks have made. Bonnie Keller, Channel 10 News, update.
Budget cutbacks at the U.S. Postal Service are cutting into weekend hours at post offices all across the Delaware Valley. The main post office at 30th Street Station is the only one in the area that is keeping its full schedule. Service windows are being closed at all the branches, but the lobbies will stay open for post office boxes and stamp vending machines. This is a difficult weekend for former Texas Governor John Connally and his wife as they try to pay off $1 million in debt. They are auctioning off their lifelong possessions. The auction, which began yesterday, has brought in more than $300,000. They're hoping to raise more than $2 million when the auction ends on Tuesday.
Still ahead on the Channel 10 News update, Joe Fowler talks to Larry Holmes one day after his knockout fight.
Plus, the Flyers and the Bruins in a matinee performance.
With over 4 million miles behind them, the new Audi 80s and 90s are the most rigorously tested cars in Audi's history. They were tested and they passed with flying colors. They also passed Mercedes-Benz 190 and BMW 3 Series to become the best-selling sports sedans in Germany. Now they're here and ready for one final test. Yours.
Lease a new Audi 80 for $269 per month or get 6.9 APR financing on all new Audi 80s and 90s.
Mom and I love to ride. We want to stay in shape. So we take Treasury brand calcium tablets with vitamin D for the extra calcium we need. You can only get them at Thrift Drug. With Treasury brand products, we save money over national brands and our satisfaction's guaranteed.
We take turns steering so that I can keep an eye on her. Sometimes she doesn't pedal.
Treasury brand calcium tablets with vitamin D only from Thrift Drug, the one you can trust.
Does car shopping confuse you? If you've shopped, and I have, you'll find the one place where the confusion ends is your Buick dealer. That's why I just bought a brand new Buick Regal. Regal is actually priced under T-Bird and Cougar. The new Regal just looks like it costs thousands more. So don't get confused. Shop where you like, but start at your Buick dealer. The car is Regal, but the price sure isn't.
Regal is the right car at the right price. See your Buick Value Team dealer.
What's time now with Joe Fowler? Busy day in sports.
One day after. Villanova should be in the top 20 because they're winning the games they need to win, all right? Let's go first to the game they won against, well, take a look and we'll see it. 69-63. Villanova's a winner over Seton Hall. Here comes Kenny Wilson right in your living room. Watch him cut right through. Tough game for Tom Grice. He fouled out, but that's bad. But watch Rowley. He chews him out. Now look at the reaction Tommy gives. Oh, Coach, be nice. Mark Plansky gets the bounce pass, shoots. Nova led by 1. Seton Hall took the lead here. Mark Bryant somehow hits this, and he's fouled. Oh, that hurt. Rowley says, don't do that anymore. Cats took the lead for good, though. Late, the shot, Doug West, three-pointer. Here we go. Villanova wins it. Scoreboard, 69-63. Seton Hall's lost 15 straight at Nova. LaSalle behind Tim Legler's 8 3-pointers beat Manhattan. Massachusetts over Rutgers. Drexel, Michael Anderson, 43 points. Drexel beat Lehigh. Delaware, 69-55 over Hofstra. Ryder, 93-84 over Lafayette. And Rhode Island tonight beat St. Joe's 91-85. Top 20, we had a bunch of top 20 teams playing. Start with number 4, Kentucky. Cats blew out LSU, 76-61. Take a look. Never seen so many fancy plays. Ed Davender behind the back. Got it. Now watch Rex Chapman. What would you call this? Windmill, semi-pump, midair, shovels it up and in. Kentucky won it. The score, 76-61. Purdue beat Louisville tonight, 91-85. Oklahoma 86, Pitt 83, kind of an upset. Oklahoma's in white. Mookie Blaylock steals the feed to Harvey Grant. See ya. Sooners led by as many as 17. Now Mookie's only 6'1". Watch how high this guy can jump. He gets the rebound. No, here he is. Oh, yes. Slams it home. What do you give him for that? Maybe a 10? They give him a 10. Thank you. Pitt tried to come back. Charles Smith brought him to within 3, but it wasn't enough. Back to the scoreboard. Oklahoma beat Pitt. Duke 103 destroyed Wake Forest. Missouri set an all-time Missouri point total, 119-93, in a big upset over Iowa State. And BYU beat New Mexico. Hockey. The Flyers had a lot of offense today, but man, did they almost blow this game against Boston. Let's go to the Garden. Scotty Mellenby had a 4-point day, his best of the year, scored 2 goals. These both in the first period. Here comes one, the slap shot into the corner. 52 seconds later, Mellenby was at it again, in position for the rebound and the score. 2-0 at that point. Hockey fighting lesson number 1, try not to lose your helmet while being punched in the head. Jay Miller did lose his helmet here, and Rick Tocchet made him pay the price. And talk about a bad goal. Boston's Ray Bourque just kind of sneaks this one by Ron Hextall. You rarely see Ron Hextall mess up, but that's a mess up right there. Made it 6-4. Coach Keenan calls timeout. Flyers regroup, and they win it. Final score, 6-4. Flyers and the Islanders still going at it. The Islanders are trailing the Flyers 5 points in the Patrick. There you see the Islanders won their game against Edmonton. NBA tonight, 4 games going, okay? But let me show you some scores. But before we do, I got to show you the fight last night. I'm not talking the Tyson Holmes. I'm talking the Cummings-Cooper fight. Look at this. Cummings, yeah, goes after Cooper. They take their business into the stands. The bench is empty. Cummings and Cooper both in the stands. 1-game suspension without pay. That's the fight last night. Here's your scores. Cleveland beat Boston 119-100. Chicago over Golden State. Dallas 113, Milwaukee 97. San Antonio 106-100 over the Clippers. The other fight last night, Mike Tyson settled the issue. Took him less than 12 minutes to drop former champ Larry Holmes. We were there as Tyson defended his title again.
Like I said before, Larry Holmes was a courageous and great champion in his time. But I just let him know he made a mistake that's coming because he had his time. And I just wanted him to know after this fight, his reign was over completely.
Even after that convincing win last night, some people still don't concede Mike Tyson as the undisputed champ.
You know what I mean? It's just like if one person had $5, the other guy had $4, the guy with the $4 is going to be mad. People are jealous. People don't want to see me make the money, and they don't want to see me rise to the top. And that's how it is. But, you know, I can't be beat. I refuse to lose. I refuse to let anyone bring me down. Me and my family, we're going to make it to the top and stay there.
Tonight, Larry Holmes went home to Easton. I spoke with him a couple of hours ago. He says he was never hurt in this fight.
My equilibrium was off. I knew where I was at all times. I knew every time I went down. I just didn't have no balance. I had no spring in my legs. I couldn't stand up. And I got caught, that's all.
They stopped the fight. Didn't you feel that was a fair thing to do at the point?
You know, I haven't seen the tape. I don't know what kind of condition I was in. But, you know, Joe does a good job. And, you know, he called the shot, so I'm not going to knock it.
Listen, Larry, why did you fight? Why did you come back at 38?
We all have points that we have to prove. I had something to prove. I wanted to come back and shock the world. And they made me a good offer, $3,100,000. Even though Don King took $300,000 at the end of it for consultant fee, I thought it was a good chance to come back and take it. And you just don't sneeze at that kind of money.
Joe Cortez was the Joe he was talking about, the referee. Also, Larry told me tonight, I am retired for good, unless...
Another $3 million.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
$3 million
Right.
take you on.
Thanks.
Joe.
They were racing against the clock over at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia today. Well, it wasn't the Indy 500 exactly, but the thrills and excitement were there nonetheless. It was the 5th year members of the South Jersey Radio-Controlled Racing Association held this 2-day meet. The grown-ups doing the racing and, of course, the young folks wanting to get in on all that fun. The object, speed up to 30 miles an hour, finish as many laps as possible in the 8-minute race, and all the fun, guess what, continues tomorrow.
Oh, the good old days of
Head
racing
out.
the cars. Still ahead tonight on the Channel 10 News Update, some snow flurries and maybe snow in the forecast.
And come along with us for a taste of the Orient.
9 New York fur manufacturers and Zinman Furs will be at the Civic Center in the Center Building for a manufacturer's fur sale Saturday and Sunday only. We believe this will be the biggest fur sale in Philadelphia's history, barring none. Zinman Furs will guarantee the quality of any fur bought from these select fur manufacturers, and Zinman will service any fur bought during this history-making sale as an added bonus. Zinman's entire stock will also be on sale at the Civic Center.
This year, the world's automakers will offer more than 500,000 impersonations of a single car, the BMW 325. But like most fine things in life, the copies are never worth quite as much as the original.
No matter what else you do, if your brakes aren't right, there's one precaution it pays to take: Midas-Size. For just $79 an axle, Midas will fix them right the first time. We won't miss a thing. We'll install new guaranteed brake shoes or pads, turn drums or rotors, inspect calipers, wheel cylinders, and hardware, and road test it. It's a lot for $79, but that's how much we care. Midas-Size. Get it right the first time. When it comes to doing business worldwide, you gotta think in global proportions. You gotta know how the world turns, because you want it to turn your way. You gotta speak the language. You gotta travel with a fast crowd. It's a big world out there. You gotta do everything you can to make it smaller. This reminder from Federal Express that it's not just a package, it's your business.
Well, you may have already seen a few flurries outside tonight, but the temperature today got all the way up to 40 degrees. There you see a nighttime picture of Boathouse Row. The temperature outside right now, 28 degrees. The humidity at 88%, the barometer at 30.07. Winds from the west at 5 miles an hour. The forecast for tonight says it will be mostly cloudy with a chance of flurries tonight. Temperature at 20 degrees, light winds, and tomorrow, your Sunday, variable cloudiness, 40 degrees, winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. The extended outlook calls for a 40% chance of snow on Monday, and also on Tuesday. Looks like things could be clearing up Wednesday and Thursday with fair skies. John?
Oh, cold temperatures. Let's close out tonight's newscast with a bit of culture and fine cuisine. They called it a Japanese festival, and it was yours to enjoy today at the Reading Terminal Market in Philadelphia. A little bit of music, food that all could taste and enjoy, and many people did. There were also displays of self-defense, a bit of karate to excite the senses. The two-day Japanese festival event at Reading Terminal Market brought in a wealth of people from all across the region.
Yeah, they're making some sushi. Oh, Joe's favorite. But it's so good for you.
No, I can't eat
That's
it.
the Channel 10 News Update. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
A lot of people are about to go bananas. They're going to go off the wall when they realize that instead of a Toyota Corolla, Nissan Stanza, or Honda Civic wagon, they could have bought a Subaru DL sedan, 3-door coupe, or wagon with power steering, fuel injection, special stripes, wheel covers, and air conditioning for under $10,000. So don't use your head like this. Use your head to buy a Subaru at our 20th anniversary value celebration.
Get a Subaru DL for under 10 grand at your nearby Subaru Crew dealer.
It smells so
Thomas's Raisin English muffins are light, wholesome, and so crunchily delicious. They give you just what you need to conquer the universe.
King of the muffins!
Thomas's English Muffins. Every day should start out this good.
Light and natural.
Light